Joe Thomas, NFL Network analyst. You can follow him on Twitter at JoeThomas73 and see Joe every Thursday on NFL Network, NFL Game Day Kickoff that starts at 6 Eastern leading into the Thursday night game. This week, Bucs and the Panthers. That's exclusively on the NFL Network. I don't know if this is a must-win situation for the Panthers, but it's pretty close. I try not to use that too often, but it feels like in that division, you can't afford to lose this one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joe joins us now. Is it a must-win situation for the Panthers Thursday night, Joe?
I believe it is. Only 2 out of 12 teams made the playoffs last year that started 0-2. And you look at that NFC South division, the Saints looking pretty good. We kind of expect that they're going to make the playoffs this year. And I'm not exactly sure that a wild card team is going to come out of the NFC South this year. So to fall behind 0-2 for the Panthers would be a little bit more of what we saw from them at the end of last season. And they definitely don't want to be the same team that they were to finish the season last year.
I have concerns about how they use Christian McCaffrey because it doesn't feel like Cam is 100%, and it feels like, when all else fails, just give the ball or throw the ball to Christian McCaffrey. How concerned would you be of overuse of Christian McCaffrey?
Well, you got to be a little concerned. He had almost 30 touches last week, and the reason they keep giving him the football is because he seems to be their only big-time playmaker on offense, especially as Cam can't really run the football right now like he usually does because of that foot injury that he got in the preseason, and they're trying to take some hits off of him. But for a guy that's not a huge player physically like Christian McCaffrey, to get 30 touches is not exactly sustainable for the long term. He's done a great job avoiding injury so far in his career, but you got to be a little concerned if that's all you have, and that's always going to be your safety valve on offense because it is a physical sport in the NFL, and you're not thinking that this is a guy that can survive that many touches week in and week out.
Why did the why did the game officials allow Odell Beckham to wear that watch in the game?
Well, that's a good question. I think Odell came out and said he's read the rules and you're allowed to wear jewelry. And I guess the refs deemed it jewelry because it's not exactly something they see on a daily basis, seeing guys come out wearing watches since not exactly a requisite part of your uniform. So maybe they were just thinking, we'll let it slide because we can kind of see that it's probably jewelry.
Yeah, but it's a watch, and now you have something hard that you're wearing. There's a safety issue here. I mean, it's not like wearing a knee brace or a necklace.
Hey, I'm not arguing for wearing a watch. I can't see that wearing a watch can help you in any manner on a football field other than maybe looking good when it's all said and done in your touchdown pictures. But clearly this is kind of a gray area that refs probably never encountered before since, like I mentioned, watches are not exactly part of catching or throwing a football or blocking even. So this might be something that we'll see the NFL look into. And obviously, hey, Odell doesn't want it to be a storyline, but it is when you wear a $200,000 watch on a Sunday football field.
Even if he's wearing a Timex, it still doesn't matter how much it costs. But if you're his teammate, are you bothered by this?
I would say if you're his teammate, you're thinking, just take the watch off. Like, why does it matter? It's not helping you catch the football. It's not helping you run faster, run better routes. So if it becomes a distraction, if it becomes something that we have to talk about, if it's not helping you become a better football player, let's just do the easy thing and just not wear it.
Would it bother you, though? Would you say something to him if you were playing?
Well, I think the first week, people probably didn't notice. Honestly, I didn't really notice until it became a big deal on social media because it is a nice-looking watch. It kind of blends in with the jersey. He is right. It does look really nice. But once you find out that it costs more than most people's house, then you're thinking, wow, that seems a little unnecessary. And then you dig into the rules, and it's kind of this gray area. Well, it is a hard object, but you're allowed to wear jewelry. So is it allowed? Isn't it allowed? And then it just becomes a distraction. And Odell, throughout his career when he was with the Giants, had a lot of distractions. And they were not related to his performance on the field. But I think he would be smart, and maybe his teammates might nudge him in the right direction of, hey, why don't we just turn over a new leaf here in Cleveland and just try to avoid doing the things that don't help us win on Sunday that we have to talk about Sunday after the game that have nothing to do with football.
Yeah, I know. Wear it during warm-ups if you want to, but not during the game. It's like,
there you go.
This is what I'm concerned about with the Browns. I got a guy who's never been a head coach, and I got Odell there, and I got guys who are brands now. I don't have high expectations for the Browns. I don't have them making the playoffs, and this isn't an overreaction to week one. I just think it's hard to piece it all together. And, they got blown out at home by Tennessee, and that offensive line looks spotty right now for me, Joe. If I'm a Browns fan, what did you see that it concerns you more? Not just a week one overreaction, but this is something to keep an eye on the rest of the season.
The thing that concerned me was the penalties. They had 18 penalties for almost 200 yards, and they're a team that talked all training camp about discipline and accountability, and we're going to be a different Browns team. Freddie Kitchens is a Bill Parcells disciple. He's a guy that believes in toughness. And then you go out and you have that many mistakes and you have that much sloppiness. It looked like a team that hadn't played together before, which they were not a team that really has played together. They've added a lot of pieces, and that's why they were so hyped, and that's why everyone was so excited about this season. But now that week one, they look like they were inexperienced, and they got beaten by a Titans team that didn't have as much talent, but had played together before and had that experience. So I think moving forward, they got to prove that, yes, we have all these talented pieces, but also, yes, we can play together and play football, because football is a team sport, and the best teams win, the best teams that play together. So that's going to be their goal going into the Monday night game against the Jets.
I brought up the commissioner's exempt list. We've seen it a couple of times, most notably with Adrian Peterson. I don't know if Antonio Brown ends up on that commissioner's exempt list. What do the players think of the commissioner's exempt list?
The players probably don't like it overall, but I do think it is a good, useful tool for the NFL to be able to do something with somebody while they at least go through some of the investigation. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of time for all of this stuff with Antonio Brown to play out, and that's what happens with the legal system. It's very slow. It takes a long time to find out innocent or guilty. And so Roger and the NFL, clearly they want to be able to address something before the courts come to a decision 2, maybe 3 years later. So I think the exemption list is something that's reasonable. Put the guy on there for the short term. Let the NFL investigators at least find out if he's clearly innocent or clearly guilty. And then at that point, then they can decide what they want to do in the short term until the legal process kind of finds its way through.
What's the weight? What are you weighing now?
That's kind of a personal question, Dan. I got a little bit heavy over the summer. There was a few too many beverages consumed, too many barbecues eaten. So I'm actually trying to get back down a little bit for my big Thursday night football career here this fall. So I'm about 255 right now.
What are you benching?
Hopefully over 255. That was the other thing that slipped this summer. Not working out quite as much as I wanted to, but you know what? I'll throw 3 plates on the bar today, and I'll give you an update.
Hey, Joe, the camera adds 15 pounds. So right now you're about 270.
Yeah, I guess I'm not eating until Friday morning then. Now you've given me a complex.
Hey, good to talk to you. Have fun on Thursday night. Great to catch up with you.
Thanks a lot, Dan. I appreciate it.
And that's Joe Thomas, works for the NFL Network, and he'll be there Thursday night, NFL Game Day kickoff, as you have the Panthers against the Buccaneers.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.